Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to Winter Fishtrap. My name is Mike Midlow. I'm the program director here. Boy, I tell you, Wallowa County is really putting the winter in Winter Fishtrap this year. Boom, boom.
Could you rename it to Spring Fish Trap?
Yeah,
Mike, you glad you're not running a bus from the west side.
Next year, we're gonna call it Maui Fishtrap. I really want to especially welcome, this is such an interesting crowd, folks. Anybody who this is their first fish trap experience or their first fish trap experience in a long time. And then, of course, for those of you here might be curious what this is. It's a fancy camera, and everybody attending Fishtrap online are not only able to see the presenters, but they're able to see a little bit of the crowd and really feel even more a part of the event. So welcome everybody who's watching virtually. We're glad to have you. We're sitting tonight in the Boldly building. This building was built in 1899. It's one of the oldest freestanding buildings in the county. It started out as I understand, as a drugstore soda fountain. A lot of people came here in their first dates, came here to hang out, to meet. And then sometime after the war, maybe some of you can correct me if you know better, but it became a clothing store. I think Nick Lundy probably still has a shirt he bought here. And then a series of restaurants. So and now in its next chapter, it's the home of Fishtrap for the last year and a few months. And in every incarnation of this building and the building next door, which is our office, which was a barber shop for decades, people came to meet the community, to tell stories, to connect with folks. And we're still doing that now. And that's really a big part of what Fishtrap is. Fishtrap was established in 1988. Rich Wanschneider right here, Judy, and many of you in the community, to bring people together to do just that, to tell stories. I have kind of an exciting piece of news. Our mission statement has always been to promote clear thinking and good writing in and about the West. And just in our last board meeting, the board of directors chose to change one word of the long-standing mission statement. Do you know about this, Rich?
No.
It's to cultivate clear thinking and good writing in and about the West. It's a subtle difference, but significant. We're pretty excited about that. And so that's why we created Winter Fishtrap. Winter Fishtrap, this is the 27th Winter Fishtrap gathering. The Winter Fishtrap has always been really, it's part of, as Rich said, it was for folks to attend who couldn't come to the summer gathering, but it kind of changed over the years to fulfill Fishtrap's clear thinking part of the mission. It's to take on issues that are important to citizens of the West. Shannon will talk about that a little bit more in a minute. But that's the reason why Fishtrap, of Winter Fishtrap. And I'm glad you're all going to be a part of this conversation, because this isn't a passive exercise. This is an interactive exercise. So I hope you'll all have a chance to connect in different ways. I do want to thank our sponsors, and this is a big deal. Braver Angels, the Eagle Cap Vacation Rentals, Eagle Cap Wellness, the Kokanee Inn, the Nature Conservancy, the Nez Perce Wallowa Homeland, Wallowa County Chamber of Commerce, Wallowa Resources, and the Wallowa Valley Center for Wellness all pitched in to make this possible. So when you see those folks, thank them. Many representatives are there tonight. Tonight we kick off Winter Fishtrap. Can we talk with a talk by Dr. Christine Hoover, who she and her husband traveled to Silly Pass, Highway 3 from Spokane at Gonzaga University to get here today, and as did all of our guests from out of town. It's like, wow, these are champions, as well as some folks we'll tell you about in a minute from right here who helped make that happen. Before we get to tonight's thing, I just want to kind of go over the schedule a little bit. Some of you signed up just for tonight. Some of you signed up just for tonight virtually. Some of you signed up for all of Saturday's events or tonight in person and the rest of the time virtually. It's an a la carte thing and you could still sign up for other events if you haven't already. Tonight, of course, we have our keynote address. Tomorrow morning, bright and early, 8 a.m. There'll be coffee. Reconnecting and listening mandala with Seth Kinsey and Craig Pesty-Strobel, who are both here, are going to have an event early in the morning. There are opportunities actually to be very involved in it. There might be a few signups left at the front if you want to really be an active member of the morning's activity. You can read about it in your program. At 9:30, we have a panel, Working Together When We Don't Agree, with Nils Christopherson, Beth Estog, and Shantae Jett. It's going to be moderated by Shannon McNerney. Then at 11 o'clock, there's a two-part workshop called Depolarizing Within, and it's led by an organization called the Braver Angels. And Steve Radcliffe from the Braver Angels is here. He'll be leading those two sessions tomorrow. He traveled all the way from the Applegate Valley in Southern Oregon today. 2 flights, and then Elizabeth Oliver was the hero and picked him up in Pendleton today on some rough roads. So thank Elizabeth for making that happen. But Steve tomorrow will have a couple of things. And then there'll be a conversation with Jason So Happy, who's the new leader of the Nez Perce Wallowa Homeland. She'll be talking with Shannon McNerney about talking across generations. And then in the evening, we have a documentary screening. I'll let you take a look at that. And then on Sunday morning, do you guys know Mostly Water? Jason Graham, our writer in residence, is he here? He just walked in. Hey, Jason. He'll be leading a thing on Sunday morning called What Are You Willing to Risk? So maybe we'll be able to synthesize some of the lessons we've learned and some of the skills we've learned over this weekend to be able to take a risk. Okay, that's it for me. I'm now going to introduce the person whose real idea was for this team. Fishtrap's Executive Director, Shannon McNerney, was so excited about this theme, and she said, Mike, we got to do it, and this is your chance to tell us. Please welcome Shannon.
Poor Mike, I come to him, Mike, you gotta do this. You can just see him dive under his desk. It's pretty scary. So good evening. Most of you know me. I'm Shannon McNerney, the executive director of this amazing place. I also wanted to acknowledge there are, I think, at least 17 people. Is that correct, Janice?
There's 18 showing, but that counts.
That counts us. Okay. Well, there's 17. If you turn around, you can see on Janice's screen, there are all these little faces. They can all see you and they can hear us. So welcome to all of you, both in person and online tonight, to Winter Fishtrap. Before I say anything else, I want to acknowledge some folks. First off, we have the best, I do personally, they're my staff. I have the best Fishtrap staff, well, the best staff in Wallowa counties. I want to thank Mike, Jennifer, yes, I do. Mike, Jennifer, Janice, and Jean. And if they could all raise their hands, thank you so much for all the time and effort that. I also want to acknowledge our Fishtrap board and volunteers. I've seen most of my board is here tonight. Also our volunteers who helped us make this work. In particular, as we mentioned, Elizabeth Oliver, who went above and beyond the call. And also we hear tell that Kate Forrester is bringing him back to Pendleton. So thank you to these folks. Also to all the folks in joining us out online. And then I also wanted to give a special call out to all of the snowplow drivers and the ODOT cameras that made this possible. So yeah, thank you. I like Winter Fishtrap Valley. We gotta work on that. Okay, so as Mike said, this program came out of an interesting kind of stew of ingredients. Mike already told you a little bit about the roots of the program. This is our humanities program. It's our conversation program. It's traditionally, especially since our relaunch, but very much about issues that matter to the West. It's the clear thinking part of our mission. What he didn't share is that we really love themes. Just in the past few years, we've explored roots and branches, courage, resilience, and generations. We even spent a year with Ursula K. Le Guin. I'm seeing some heads nod. You remember some of these themes. Well, this year, Rich, he challenged us. He said, well, what about love? I think Mike and I both saw peace signs and tie-dye, and we started catching whiffs of patchouli. And it's basically, Rich kind of is crafty, he's crafty, and he challenged us to look past the decade that we were born in. Yes, Mike and I are both that old, to look back and think bigger. The world is dark and scary. Let's give a little more thought to love as a challenge. With that, the summer fish trap theme was set for this year. But what about winter fish trap? We didn't see that as a theme that resonated with this, in particular, our clear thinking humanities program. Being the dichotomous human being that I am, I of course suggested hate. We tossed that around for a while, but it seemed too obvious. And yes, a little loaded and scary, you think? So we put a pin on it until after summer fish trap. And I want to say I'm very glad we did. Summer fish trap this year had all the magic and creativity we've come to expect, but there was a shadow. Despite our generations theme, divisions along generational lines turned into chasms. Many folks went from just annoyance to outrage in a split second. Empathy seemed to be in short supply for some. And in that turn, because of that, they impacted many. What was going on? What were we missing? The staff and I all sat down together late last summer to take up the theme of winter fish trap again, under the shadow of that summer fish trap experience. We brainstormed words, debated topics, including aging, cancel culture, transformation, imagination, fear, sacred cows, guns. There were over 40 words on our big whiteboard in the kitchen. All of them, every single one, were filled with contention and conflict. Can we talk just seemed to kind of float onto the air. Can we just sit down and connect? Can we ever see past the issues that divide us, the parties, the dogmas, the labels and convictions, and see each other as people first? Where do we begin? Winter Fish Trap was born. My job tonight is to set the stage for this weekend, to give you a little nudge, a little encouragement, not that I think you all need it, because you're here. I say that because the fact that you're here suggests a few things about you. First off, you know how to drive in the snow. Or how to operate a computer in the snow. Not small things, that's commendable. In all seriousness, I have a strong feeling that you're all here because you have a belief in the power of community. Despite all the darkness and disconnection that seems to dominate our society through all varieties of our media, you have hope. You believe we can do better at listening, at learning, and working together. You're here because you believe it's crucial that we try. You know that the cost of sitting in our own little comfy bubbles with those who think like we do is just too high. To be able to set aside 3 days to do this work together is no small ask. There are certainly more leisurely ways to spend a cold winter weekend, but you understand that it's both a privilege and a responsibility to do this work. I'll take it one step further and suggest that doing it here, in this place that was and is the homeland and gathering place of the Mimipu, the Umatilla, the Cayuse, and the Walla Walla, both honors them and serves the community we've built here. Maybe, just maybe, this can be a spark that brings us all together to be better stewards of this place and your place wherever you call home. We're going to ask a lot of you starting tonight. We might even make you uncomfortable. We're going to ask you to step outside of your comfy little bubble place. If you're conflict avoidant, the fear of saying something wrong or maybe saying anything at all might scare the hell out of you. If you're a rebel, a fighter for your cause, someone who is unafraid to charge into the fray, we're going to challenge you to sit still and listen. If you're a bridge builder, a bridge building people pleaser, can I see my peeps? We're going to ask you and me to let others take on that role for just a few hours. Sound like fun? Yes. Fun is on the agenda too, and comfort food. We're not sadists. So, as Mike mentioned, Fishtrap's mission is to cultivate clear thinking and good writing in and about the West. At the heart of that mission is a belief in the power of words, of sharing our stories and experiences to help create connection, yes, but also to help understand this beautiful, crazy, frightening place we live in. While we're going to ask you to put in a little work and try out some new tools, we're also going to hopefully inspire you with your stories and experiences of some of your neighbors and friends. You'll hear about their successes, yes, but also where they fell down. We're all on a journey. None of us gets it right all the time, and most of us are doing great if we're good at it some of the time. That's why we're here. We want to do better and learn from the folks who may have some advice about these things. So here's my assignment for you. Take risks. Be uncomfortable. Push yourself to take on an exercise that makes your tummy turn and your teeth itch, and help the folks around you do the same. I encourage you to connect with someone who doesn't share some or any of your labels. Don't just step out, burst one of your bubbles. Reach out, ask questions, learn something new from someone who doesn't maybe remember a time without a smartphone or a computer, or for someone whose first phone had a long cord on a dial in it. Maybe ask somebody for a story from someone who doesn't share your faith or your political beliefs. We all have much to learn from each other, and the benefits of learning together as a community are themselves manifold and far-reaching that take good advantage. Finally, I ask you to join me, the Fishtrap staff, and our presenters in creating a brave space for everyone to do this work together. As far as I can tell, without doing a full DNA analysis, every single body here is a human being with a beating heart, a conscience, and a soul. Each is carrying hopes, fears, and burdens you know nothing about. Create space for them. Be kind, and be aware that not one of us, even if you're sitting here next to a spouse or a sibling or a child, can read minds. Take good care of yourself. Know your limits. Take breaks, and if you truly need something, ask. Let us know. I have a favorite quote that I want to thank Gonzaga for helping me find. I try to live by. Remember that mistake thing mostly. I try to live by this. Viktor Frankl, who was a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, said that between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. We're going to ask you to explore that space this weekend, to learn how we can use it to create growth and freedom for ourselves, yes, but also model it for our communities. I love, and it seems appropriate, that Martin Luther King this weekend said, "Rarely do we find men who willingly engage in hard, solid thinking. There's almost a universal quest for easy answers and half-baked solutions. Nothing pains some people more than having to think." I'm honored to share community with so many of you who are willing to engage in that hard, solid thinking, and who also share another one of Dr. King's beliefs. Love is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into a friend. Thank you.